Good evening, Matthew, sir.
Yeah, good evening to all. Good evening, Javi.
Yeah, Simi, ma'am, I've just started speaking. Are you able to hear now? Okay, thank you. And thank you once again, Pooja ma'am, for being the host for the session. So that takes a whole lot of out of me. So I think we would just start in 2 minutes time. We'll just wait for 2 more minutes. It's a Friday evening. People are getting back home, finishing off their work, and whoever is joining us would be, you're most welcome. All those who have taken time out of your Friday evening. As I say, Friday evenings are very special. Monday to Friday, we've been running and running, and Friday is one day we would all like to sit and relax and, enjoy. Good evening, Hemlata ma'am. I could see you for a minute and then you went.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yeah. I'm unmuting you. Yes, ma'am, you may unmute.
Okay. Okay,
Nice
thank
to
you
be
so
here.
much. Yeah, so yes, I think good evening, Harmeet ma'am. So good to see you here.
Good evening, ma'am. Good evening, Harmeet, ma'am.
All the educators who have joined, especially the decision makers, the principals, the directors, the managers, the stakeholders, all my computer science teachers, all of you who are present here today, we have extra responsibility. So I hope we will all be working towards a common goal. And thank you, Hemlata ma'am, for sharing that post of International Internet Day. Very honestly speaking, I knew that October is the month of cybersecurity awareness, but that today, October 29, is being celebrated as International Internet Day was new to me. So thank you so much. And when I looked into the internet, it gave me the theme Together for Better Internet. So exactly that is the reason we are all here today, together for not just better internet, but for a better world as well. So good evening to one and all who have joined me today this evening for a session for cyber safe schools. I know why you have joined me today, because you are an individual who would like to make some changes, who would like to make it a safer place, a better place, not just for our children, but for us also. Yes, together for a safer internet. Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much. So give me a minute. As I share my screen, I just wanted to mention 2, 3 things. One, today my Wi-Fi is, dongling between. Sometimes it gets connected, sometimes I'm back. So in case if I get disconnected, please hold on. I'll be back soon. And I understand that everybody is on mute, but please, if you have something to add on to what is being said, please feel free to use the chat box. I would be keeping track of the chat box, so you can put your inputs in the chat box. I would love to have it an interactive way rather than just going a one way. Though once we start, because this is a very important and a very deep topic, there are a lot of things that needs to be covered. Today we would look into the basics of it and how we can get started for a safe school, especially when our schools are reopening. And like before pandemic, we used to strictly say no to devices in our campuses. And now it may not be so. We may have to go to hybrid modes. We may have to allow devices in our classrooms. So when we do that, when we get back to our classrooms, we cannot just say no to everything. Okay, let's start where we were 1.5 years back or 2 years back. That would not work out for any of us in any of our school. And that's the reason all of us together should bring the importance of having a cyber policy for every school, no matter whether you are a small school, whether you are an international school, whether you are a huge chains of school. A cyber policy, just like any other policy of your school, is equally important. Okay, so I would just share my screen and we would get started. Yes. So yes, today we'll talk about cyber safe schools. All right. Now, some of the topic that we're going to discuss today would be what's the need for cyber policy? I think we did mention that in the beginning, that exactly like how we plan each and every document of the school, the cyber policy is something you cannot ignore any longer. And as leaders, you have the special responsibility to make sure that our school has a cyber policy drafted, a proper cyber policy drafted, making it visible, making it accessible to every stakeholder. We'll also look into something known as cyber hygiene. I know all these terms would be very familiar to most of you. We're just going to go through all of that once again, just to brush our memories and to understand why we want a cyber policy for our schools. What are some of the cyber etiquettes? Yes, we all teach our children about good etiquettes, social etiquettes, emotional etiquettes, financial etiquettes. We teach them all of those, but and we do teach them some of cyber etiquettes as well. But do we do it consistently? Do we do it often? That is the thing that we need to check out. Yes, we look at something known as a cyber diet. We'll also look at cyber civics, and we will we'll go through an introduction of how we can draft cyber policies for schools. Okay, as mentioned before, October is known as the Cyber Security Awareness Month, and the theme for this year is Do Your Part, Be Cyber Smart. So how many of us know about it, that we celebrate October as security awareness, cyber security awareness month? How many of us have told our children about it? Have we conducted any activities around this? All this we need to know. So today we are going to do our part. We cannot make huge changes, but we can make those ripples that are required to make bigger changes in our society, in our schools. So we are going to do our part, and we are going to be ourselves cyber smart and make all the people who are associated with us also cyber smart. And you don't have to be a computer science educator to do that. Okay, so I think the line between the online and the offline world is so indistinguishable at these times that we absolutely need to put our focus back on where it is supposed to be. That is the safety of every stakeholder in the school. Okay, whether it is student, teachers, or helpers, or whether it is the leaders, everybody. Okay, just a rough figure, you don't have to go through that. Everybody know what is the state of the how extensively we've been using this digital devices. The coming few slides are just going to reinforce the status of digital, or the influence of digital devices or technologies in our life. Okay, this is, I've borrowed this from a very authentic site that India uses. So that shows that total population stands at 1.39 billion, mobile connections are 1.10, and internet users are 624, and we have active social media users as 448. Okay, annual digital growth is as per what you can see on your screen, depending upon if you compare it with the total population, and mobile connections, internet users have all seen a surge. Whether it's a mobile, a smartphone, a tablet, a laptop, a computer, a gaming console, smart home, smart watches, whatever it is, you see the figures in your screen. And yes, we cannot deny the fact that however less we want to use our devices once we are back home or once we are done with our work, these are some of the statistics that shows how much time we spend daily on different media. I am sure that at least some of you would agree that we might just take to check one important message, probably from the school or from a friend or someone, and we end up checking all the messages. We go to Facebook, we go to LinkedIn, we go to Twitter if we are there, and we just browse the internet probably for something. We watch a lot of reels. Maybe this is how, and we before we know, we've spent a considerable amount of time on the internet using different social media. So these are some of, online privacy and well-being. I want you to pay attention to this slide. Okay, if you look at the second factor, express concern about what is real or fake on the internet, there is no data available. Okay, on the people who have expressed concern about what is real or fake on the internet. We live in the world where we call WhatsApp as university. And another figure says that 88% cannot go in a day without being online. I think the figure should be a little more higher than this. And the 12% can go in a day without being online. So now, why are we talking about cyber safety, cyber security, or why are we talking about the need of drafting a cyber policy for schools? We know that school as an entity has the most important people of the society, with us. That is the children, and especially we have all the information about our children, whether it is their address, parents' name, numbers, bank accounts, everything is there. And some of the challenges we as educators or we our field faces is lack of proper awareness about. We know that we need to be smart, cyber smart. We need to be aware of the fake, phishing or scamming or things like that. But there is no proper awareness. We sometimes very often I have heard people say that, oh, children these days are quite tech savvy. They know better than us. If you put it in percentage, how confidently you can say that you can put a blanket cover on all the children and say this? When you talk about children being tech savvy, yes, they know how to use a smartphone better than most of us. They know how to get things on the internet better than most of us, but they do not know a lot more thing that you know, or that I know, or that we know. So those are some of the challenges that we assume that, okay, children are quite equipped to handle today's technology. So lack of awareness. Everybody uses Wi-Fi, whether you go to malls, whether you go to railway stations, airports, whether it is your school. Is your Wi-Fi secured? You made sure that you follow the protocols and it's a secured Wi-Fi. Okay, weak cyber safety practices, phishing, lack of resources and budgets. We do not, sometimes we start our schools and we think, okay, this is very important. I must have a computer club. I must have a cyber cell in my school. But then we are also pressed with so many different activities that we think, okay, this is not that important at this point of time. And then we just push it away. And sometimes we do not have enough funds to invest in cyber policies and cyber security. I'm sorry, this is a very, very dry topic, but this is a very important one. I cannot just skip this. So there are a lot of unsafe websites that we as adults use, our children use. And as I said, one of the main challenges of education is an absence of policy. And we deal with a lot of personal data, a lot of sensitive data. So we need as a school, we need to be very careful about this. I would insist on the role of a school leadership in this particular context. When I talk about school leadership, I do not mean just people who have those titles of principals, vice principal, coordinators. No, every teacher is a leader. Your students are also leaders. But here specifically, if the school leadership team pays attention and consider it important that there has to be enough emphasis given on this particular aspect of cybersecurity in my school, so that later it does not become an administrative problem for me. That is the role of a school leadership over here. Now, I just want to ask a question to everybody who is present here. Are you prepared to take action? Or this is just going to be another webinar about cybersecurity, where you will listen to a lot of stuff and we'll all go home back happily, and then nothing would change. It's a request. It's a personal request from me as a computer science educator for the past 19 years. This webinar is actually a call for action, a request to one and all who is present here. If you are someone who can make a difference in your school, please do. please help your school draft a cyber policy. It's a request. So we talked about that we would be discussing some of these details. Yeah, thank you, Pooja ma'am. So we said that we will be discussing a few of the concepts of cybersecurity here today, because it's just a basic part one of the cyber safe schools. All of us are quite conscious about what we eat for our health, for our physical health. Are we conscious about what we eat for our mental health? Are we even aware of what all we consume in a day, whether it is us or our children? You know, I want these questions to be answered on your own. Whenever we enroll our children for an offline activity or a club, we make sure that we, check with everybody concerned to see if that's a safe place, if that's an activity that is beneficial for our child, and we check out every other aspect of that activity before we put our child into that. And I'm sure that you would be extra conscious when you put your child or when you enroll your child for an offline activity. Now, when most of our children would have these phones with at least class 7 upwards, most of them, because of this pandemic, parents are forced to give them phones, at least in the urban area. How many of you check on the apps that they download or the games that they play, whether they are age appropriate, whether the apps that they are using are age appropriate, the accounts that they're going to create are age appropriate? Have you ever checked with your child? When I say your child, I actually mean all the children in our school. So when we go for our online classes, we take our classes and we come out of the classes. Do we ever check out about any of these concepts? Earlier, when we were young, we used to have this moral science class where our class teachers would come and tell us a lot of good things. And that still is there with us. We're still carrying it. So everything that we do is actually based on that. So do we address those issues in our class? Do we ask them that question? Cyber diet is very, very important, because there is a digital footprint that we leave and our children leave behind. And whether you're going to be hired for a job, whether you're applying somewhere for an internship, whether you are sending a connect request, whatever you do, everybody checks your social media presence. Everybody checks your digital footprint on what kind of a person you are. When I talk about cyber diet, I would also like to ask all of us present here, are we aware who our children talk to online, or what they do online, or where do they go online? I think you can find out about who your children talk to online by asking them questions. Now, before we ask them question or do anything, there has to be a mutual trust, and the children should feel respected, that we are not snooping on them. If they get that feeling, especially the teenagers, then they're just going to shut you off. Okay, and being in their social media account, I don't think that is advisable, and they don't like it. They're not very comfortable with it. But there are a lot of things that you can do otherwise in order to get your children, into your safe custody, to make them come to you whenever they require your help or your guidance. Not always they would require, they would navigate their way through this internet very smartly, but there would be definitely occasions where they would require your guidance. So at that point of time, will your child come to you and ask you or share with you whatever is bothering her or him? Okay, and also which all sites do they visit during a course of time? They're very smart. Earlier we used to say, okay, just check the history of the browser and you'll see. They're smarter than us. They know how to turn off the advanced search settings, or the safe settings can be turned off. Everything can be done. Okay, they know how to do all that, and we are aware of it. But can we equip ourselves a little more better, that we can guide them a little more better, is the question that we need to ask. So next time when our children are consuming content from the internet, let us be aware, and let us talk to them occasionally to find out what they have been doing online, where all they go, who all are the new friends that they have made online. So please ask your children who they talk to online and where do they go and what do they do, how do they spend their time most, I think a lot of time on the phone. What do they do in the phone? Which sites do they go in YouTube? What videos they want? Not quite explicitly like that, but definitely we can ask them that. I know that all of us teach our children social etiquettes of being a good human being, of being a civilized person in the society. And over a period of time, we have also taught them little bit about the net etiquettes also. But cyber net etiquettes can be actually classified roughly into these 5. Do we tell ourselves, our children, our teachers, that while we are online, we need to be responsible? How important is it to be a responsible user of the internet? Everything that we see and hear in the internet is not true. And we also know that. But haven't you at least once forwarded that one message which you just got and that said, okay, you forwarded to 5 different people and you will have this? Or there is this amazing offer from Air India or some Emirates airline that they are giving off these goodies for if you pass this message or if you click on that link. How many times, being adults, being people who are knowledgeable, how many times we have clicked on those? How many times without even being aware of what that other person meant when that person posted that content, we would just post a rude comment, or we would just involve ourselves in issues that in Toastmasters, I remember they say you're not supposed to talk about religion, politics, and sex. They have a very clear-cut rule about it. Whenever you make a speech, you're not supposed to speak about these 3. So how often do we talk to ourselves, our teachers, and our children that when we are on the internet? And the whole idea is to make this thing visible, put it everywhere so that every time you see that, you're being reminded. So you are supposed to be responsible, respect at all times. Not everybody would think like us, but that does not mean that we are right and they are wrong. The Constitution of India gives the freedom of speech and freedom of thought. Now, how responsibly you use that freedom of speech and freedom of thought depends on you. It is your personal perspective that comes out when you interact. There are people who interact socially very well, but when you know them personally, you would know a totally different person. So what I would like to insist here is, just like how we teach our children social etiquettes, we have to keep reminding them of cyber netiquettes. There are times when these youngsters feel left out because they haven't got enough likes for their posts, or not enough number of followers in their Instagram accounts. Maybe they do not have a YouTube channel. I'm not just talking about them. Take us. If we see that there are people who are getting more likes, more comments, somewhere in that remote corner, we would feel a little insecure, a little insecure. And also, we feel quite upset and depressed because on the internet, we see everything good about a person. They're going to, some exotic locations for their holidays. They are unboxing the latest gadgets. Everything is so picture perfect. But you and I know life is not picture perfect. But we project things that are picture perfect, and there are so many filters. Sometimes you look at yourself in the morning in the mirror and you think, oh my God, I've put weight on all wrong corners or wrong part of my body. And look at that person, how beautiful she looks. She's lost such a lot of weight. And then you go into depression and you don't feel good about yourself. And when you don't feel good about yourself, you'll never feel happy about you. And it's, by default, I would say that women have got the strength to, bounce back from every challenge life throws at it. Men also. I am not a feminist. I would like to make it very clear. Men also have that power of resilience. But do we teach our children to be resilient? Do we teach them that it's okay if you have not got 20 on 20? 10 on 20 is also okay sometimes. Now we'll figure out why you've got 10 on 20 and try if we can do it better. Or if this is your best, maybe you went for that competition and you couldn't do well for your exam. Maybe that's the reason. It's not about you. So teaching resilience, not just part of your cybernetics, teaching resilience as a life skill, that whenever they face that challenge, they have the ability to bounce back. Compassion. I don't have to explain compassion for anyone out here because all of us as teachers know the importance of compassion. Integrity, that's very important. How often do we have fake accounts? Do we tell our children not to open fake account, that it's not morally right? Do we tell our children, these days a lot of accounts are being hacked and it's being used for a lot of malicious purposes. So are we preparing our children? So cyber etiquette plays a very important part. Cyber diet is very important. Teaching our children cyber etiquette is equally important. All of us are quite, careful about our personal hygiene. How often do we pay attention to our cyber hygiene? How often do we invest in having a good cyber hygiene? So cyber hygiene is actually forming some good habits about your cyber world. Now, some of the ways in which you can maintain that cyber hygiene would be to install reputable antivirus and malware software. You can use network firewalls if you are using a network connection and your systems are all interconnected. You have sensitive information, sensitive data, then you could use the network firewalls. If you have 5 accounts, have 5 different passwords for them. And if you do not have the patience to, form different kinds of strong passwords, there are applications that are available that will help you to make strong passwords that will secure your applications. And use multi-factor authentication for all the accounts, whether it is your Gmail, your Facebook, your LinkedIn, your WhatsApp, your Twitter, whatever it is, use multi-factor authentication. One is by your normal username and password. Another is probably by using an ATP or maybe using your fingerprints, which is your biometric. It always needs to be a multi-factor authentication. Always keep backup of the important content of whatever you have it in your laptop or in your desktops or tabs or mobiles. Always keep regular backup. And it's very important because we have everything on this smartphone, whether it is our mobile applications, banking applications, or whether it is about whole data about our children, everything is stored in our mobile devices. So it's very important to have a security for our mobile devices as well. Ensuring privacy, not to intrude somebody else's privacy. Sometimes there's this joke about sending request and connection on Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter and all. They say not all are very happy about your, growth or the way you're connected to people. Some of them send you connection requests to be a surveillance cameras. So you have to be very careful about whom you are connecting to. It's very important. And keeping your apps, software, and firmware up to date. Every week, whenever a mobile Android devices has a new update and they have fixed a bug in that update, they will send an update on your phone. You need to update your phone with the latest Android software. And similarly for your Windows software or whatever you're using, your Mac or whatever you're using, you need to be regularly updating your apps and softwares and firmwares. Okay, that is about cyber hygiene. About cyber civics, we know what civics is all about. Cyber civics deals with digital citizenship. We always tell our children to be good citizens, good global citizens. But do we also tell them that they need to be a good digital citizen? That they need to be aware of the digital footprints that they're going to make? Now, at this point of time, I just want to share a few applications. I'll just stop my screen share for a while. Yeah, and I want to, okay, let me know if you are able to see this. Okay, 1 second. There is this site called bevigil.com. If you are planning to download an application and you want to check if that application is appropriate, it is safe, then you can just check it out, the name of that application over here. For example, if I want to check out how safe is LinkedIn, okay, I made a mistake. Yeah. Pooja ma'am, you're able to see my screen?
Yes, Shibi ma'am. Yes, it's visible.
Okay, fine. Somehow I find that my system is not responding. I'm not able to. This bevigil.com is an app, is a site where you can check the application. It'll come with the rating. It'll come with the reviews of the app. And then you can check whether it is safe for you or not to implement or to download on your mobiles, or if it is a desktop, it is whether it is safe to implement in your desktop. I'm so sorry, I'm not able to show you, but maybe I will share the list of the applications that, let me just check this. Okay, can I have a few email IDs in the chat box? Can I have the few email IDs? If I'm lucky and if this is working, okay. For example, I have two mail ID. Okay, one is the initial one where I didn't know that I am supposed to keep my personal mail ID and my professional mail ID separate. So everything that I used to register, everything that I used to go through my personal mail ID. So see, there are 6 data breaches using my mail ID. And they will show you in detail when all these breaches had happened. Okay, so do I have any messages in the chat box? Any email IDs? Yeah, I'll just check out one that I have got. Okay. Let's see this one. Oh, there's a comma there. This is another important thing that most of us need to learn. Yes, Princy ma'am, I think your email ID is very, very safe. Okay, so I have, Sapna ma'am, I'm sorry, I missed this message. Which names do you want me to repeat? Pooja ma'am, can you unmute Sapna ma'am, Sapna Gupta ma'am?
Sapna ma'am, please raise your hand for the same so that I can see you where you are.
I'm sorry, Kavaljeet ma'am, Ma'am or sir, I really don't know. The name is very confusing. Kavaljeet, your email ID has already been pawned, and it has been pawned 4 times, 4 data breaches. So if this is a mail ID that we've been using and are still using with important information, then we need to be a little more careful about. Okay, let me take this Hotmail ID because it's
Yes, Sapna ma'am, you can speak.
yes.
Good evening, Shibi ma'am.
Good evening.
I'd like you to please share with us, yes, this slide I wanted you to share with us so that we could, pass
Yes,
on. In
I
fact,
will do
use this as well as pass it on to our children.
Definitely.
So
I will
that,
definitely
they'll
pass
be aware.
on. Yes, I will definitely
Thank you,
pass
sir.
on all the websites in the group so you can take it from there as well. Okay. So see, this is one website where you can check whether your email IDs have been compromised or not. I was also not aware of this. It was when I attended a webinar by Rakshit Tandon sir, who is a cybersecurity expert, where he taught us about all of these. So I thought it's very important for us to know that there are options like this. And how many times have you been made, recently we had this video floating in WhatsApp where these Amazon guys are, yeah, Pooja ma'am, you've raised your hand.
Yeah, Shivi ma'am, I was just wanting to know that this site, particular site, does it tell us this, that our Gmail account is linked with how many apps and are they secure or not?
It won't tell you that whether those apps are secured or not, but it would tell you that if your email ID was compromised, how many times it was compromised and which app led to that compromise of data and in which year. Okay, it would give you that detail. This have I been pawned, right? You're talking about have I been pawned, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
it won't tell you that, okay, Snapchat is not safe or maybe LinkedIn is not safe. It won't tell you that, but it'll tell you whether your email has been compromised. So it's very important for all of us to see. Gmail allows us to have multiple Gmail IDs. So we should definitely have one only for our personal, where we would not have any apps registered through that particular ID.
Okay.
These days, especially after the pandemic, after attending so many webinars, Wakelet, Canva, Nearpod, whatever app comes, we are so, enthusiastic to learn all of that we go, okay, sign in using Google. Everything is being signed in using Google. Be careful which ID you can sign in with Google. There's no harm, but make a separate ID for that, which you would connect with your, this applications, and you're not going to use it for anything personal. You will not have any of your banking details, your family details, or anything in those email IDs. It would be purely for these, educational purpose, where you would be visiting different applications and trying out which one works for you and which does not work for you. I hope I answered that question.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So, and then I was just talking about this video that was floating around in WhatsApp a few days back, where these Amazon agents, they stopped their vehicle somewhere and they are unboxing all the packages. They're checking out the, content inside that, and they are replacing it with the duplicate one. And they've been caught. And when, suppose it comes to us and we don't realize, and we paid say 30,000 for a mobile, and we have got something, maybe a second hand or maybe an upgraded one, we've not got the original product. Some of us will go and fight it out, and some of us will think, okay, what can we do? Maybe it's like this. Mera paisa to gaya, all kind of complaining. But how many of us are actually following that tagline that says Jago Grahak Jago? How many of us go to those websites, we lodge our complaints, and we make sure that the hard-earned money is not just going waste just like that? Okay, so there is this website which all of us should be using, which is called Consumer Helpline. It's an Indian government website. And when I visited it, for this purpose to share it with you, I saw there were so many people who were sharing their feedbacks in that and telling that, okay, their query got resolved and they got an answer by registering a complaint in this website. Okay, so you have, for different purposes, you have different applications. You have a toll-free number over there. It's not a toll-free number, I think will be charged for it, but at least you have a number where you can reach out to, you can register your complaint. They also have cybercrime where you can just check out if your most frequently asked questions are all answered. So this is our right as a consumer. It is our right. And as they say, Jago Grahak Jago. Yes, they've mentioned it's a toll-free number. So it is a toll-free number. So make sure that if you are not receiving the product that you ordered for, you have the right to return it and get a refund. And it's not just about returning and refunding any other grievances that you have. If it is genuine, you can use this website to lodge your complaint. Okay, so that is about, yes.
There's one message in chat box. Please
Yeah.
check. There is some
Once.
query, I guess.
How do they come to know that my my very interesting question. Even I thought, how do they come to know that my mail ID is compromised? Again, see, data is the new gold, as we keep telling them. They get your data, whether you are browsing through Facebook or Amazon or Flipkart or any other. If you are online, you have the risk. Okay, and I would say this site is authentic because it was suggested by the National Cybersecurity Resource Person, Rakshit Tandon sir. That's why I made it very clear, because this is not something that I discovered while I was preparing the session for. I attended a webinar of Rakshit Tandon sir where he shared this website with us and checked the mail IDs whether it was being compromised or not. So I can only say that much. I wouldn't say that, okay, I'm 100% sure that this site is authentic. I hope I have answered your question. Okay, going ahead. There is something called Cyber. This is again another initiative by our Indian government. 1 second. It's called Cyber Swachhata Kendra. So if you are somebody who is interested in making sure that your school, your teachers, your students are aware of cyber security, this site can also help you, where they have a lot of training materials. Also, they have the best security practices. They have some alerts about, if there is a malware or something that is doing rounds, that is there. Some of the security tools are also mentioned. You can download some security tools over there. So these are some of the sites that you can actually use for getting to know more about cybersecurity and being safe in this online world. Nothing can be said with surety. I wouldn't say that all these sites are safe, because anything which is online can be hacked. But if you are there and if you're using it, be an aware citizen, be an aware person that this can happen. Okay, and in case if we come across people who've been a victim of cybercrime, there is a portal from Indian government which is called cybercrime.gov.in. As a school, if you face a problem, as an individual, if you face a problem, there are special provisions for women and children. You can report anonymously also. You don't have to mention, you don't have to give your details regarding it. So you can mention it over here, and you can report the other cybercrime that has happened. Or if you are a volunteer, you want to act as a volunteer for cybersecurity, you can do that in this portal. So this is another website that I wanted to share with you. Could be possible, could be possible. We are pawning ourselves. It all depends on individual. There are no right and wrong answer. We are doing all this to make all of us aware. Now, okay, probably that is why your query is not yet satisfied. Whoever asked this question to Rakshit Tandon sir, I think you should pursue it and find out, because I believe that if there is a way, there is a way. So if you think that this particular site is not safe, if there's something that makes you feel that this is not very safe, please go ahead and find out from other sources. And let us also know, so that we do not encourage and we do not share these kind of information. Going back to where we were. Thank you. Okay, we talked about digital resilience. For young people, digitally resilient means to realize that there are risks online and not everything that they see over there is going to be the right thing. Okay, there are fake news that are circulating, and they may end up in problem after maybe talking to a stranger. But when they do so, or if they do so, they should know that there is somebody whom they can turn for help. Yes, there's a raised hand. Pooja ma'am, can you?
Yeah, ma'am. I have already given the options. So,
Yeah,
sir,
you can
ma'am.
unmute yourself.
Ma'am, good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Ma'am, just I want to ask you, ma'am, if we get some mails for the ruin the reputation of some school,
Okay.
what we do?
You,
If we
you
are not able to,
no, I didn't get that question clearly. You get a
Ma'am,
mail.
I am working in one of the reputed school, and some people used to send mails which ruin the school image. How to trace that people? If we made a cybercrime complaint, they will not help us.
I think I wouldn't agree to that, because if you're telling that if you received a mail like that,
Yeah,
you
ma'am, I have
registered a
done a
complaint.
properly channel. The last side you have shown me up. I
Uh-huh.
made a complaint in that.
Okay.
I put a complaint in that. I have sent a screenshot, the mail address, and I try my level best to find out the IP address of that. So they have used a VMP to create that email ID.
Okay.
So
Okay.
VMP se to we cannot trace the proper
Right.
email ID.
Right.
IP address we cannot trace it.
Right. Which place
Yeah.
is this, Looney ma'am?
Ma'am,
No, I'm sorry. Your voice is not very clear.
I say Delhi in Ashok.
Okay. In Delhi, you are not able to get the help that is required.
Yeah, ma'am.
After going
Ma'am,
through the proper channel.
I was very disappointed the behavior of a cybercrime department. I made a very big complaint. I complained. I sent her the screenshot. I visit her office, and they said, "Ma'am, it's not ruin the image of the school." And it's not a one mail we are getting from that email ID. We are getting a more and more every week. We are getting a mail ID, and we are helpless.
Have you tried going above that level? You've tried going above that level as well?
Ma'am, I have visited the police station, the cybercrime department also.
Okay,
So
I think Looney ma'am, I will connect you after this. I'm not a cyber cell expert or somebody, but at least in Kerala, we know people personally who can help us out, who are in the cyber cell department and who are in the cyber security section. So maybe I'll connect to you after that, or maybe you can connect to me and we'll see what can be done. Can we do that?
ma'am. Actually, I got this workshop request from the principal, ma'am. So she asked me to raise this question if they Rakshit Tandon sir also showing this side. He put a complaint and they will solve. Nothing will happen. I'm very disappointed from their help. They are helpless. They are hopeless, ma'am. Simply hopeless.
I do, I can understand your emotions and what you're feeling and what you're going through. But okay, we'll see what can be done regarding that. Can we continue with the session, Looney ma'am?
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Okay, so we were talking about teaching digital resilience to children and to tell them that there is a trusted adult there who can help them out in times where they get stuck or they are troubled by some stranger. So it's very important to teach them about digital resilience. It's very important to have that quality. That's one of the life skill. So this is again another one about digital resilience. Our children need to understand that there are risks online. They learn from their experiences and they would know what to do and how to do from a range of appropriate sources. And they should also be able to recover in case if they fall down. And we should always be there to help them out instead of putting a blame game. Okay. So Now I just come back to the very important section of, this is just an introduction about cyber policy for schools. Every school who is interested, which is interested in drafting a cyber policy for the school, should first start by having a self-assessment of the organization. As an organization, what are my policies regarding this? There has to be a questionnaire. There has to be a survey that needs to be sent. There has to be an assessment by the stakeholders in terms of the organization. Then we should form a charter for children and young people. Okay, this is the commitment that the school has towards the children and young people. There should be a charter like that. I have borrowed this from an outside website. It's not an Indian website, but I felt that this is very, very relevant for us also. And there should be an example of a child-safe code of conduct, which means all the stakeholders of the school should know what to do and what not to do when they are in school in terms of children. And there should be a checklist for online safety, which should be displayed in and around the school where everybody can have an access to that. And definitely the parents and the other stakeholders should be taken into account while we are drafting the policy. We will have another session for going into the nitty-gritty of drafting the cyber policy, but this is where we can all start with. So when we draft a cyber policy, the aim or the requirement is to educate, to engage, to prepare, and to respond in case if there is a cyber emergency in our school. Just like Looney ma'am said, they've been receiving emails that are ruining the reputation of a school, which is not the right thing to do. Okay, what should be done? It is also important to have the local people who are involved in this particular process to consult them before you draft the policy. So that in case if you are stuck somewhere, in case if you are facing a problem, you will be able to have a help from those local people. It's very important to do that while you are drafting the cyber policy. And if some of the schools have a little bit of, cyber policy in place after the pandemic. Once we had gone online, we have, brought out some rules and regulations regarding do's and don'ts. If we have that, then it is very important to review it, whether it is now relevant as we are following a hybrid mode or as we are following an offline mode. We should be having training for our educators. All of them are going and using different applications, attending different webinars. So they will come out with new apps and new applications and new medias. So they should be aware that which are the sites that they can go to, which are the sites that has risk, and how they can keep their data and the school's data private and secure. This has to be done. Okay. There should also be something known as incorporating the policy of stop, think, and connect. We're supposed to, whenever we do something online, we just don't go and do it. We have to stop, we have to think, and then we need to go online and do whatever we were supposed to do. Teach our children also this concept of stopping, thinking, and connecting. Okay. Is there a message in the chat box? Okay, no. All right. And, whenever we are drafting our cyber policy, yes, there is a message for Looney ma'am from Harmeet ma'am. She's definitely somebody who can guide us better. So there is a message for you, Looney ma'am, in the chat box. Maybe you can take it up from there. Here, when we talk about our cybersecurity plans, we must, when we form a committee to draft the cyber policy, there should be a representation from the students, from the teachers, from the parents' side. Okay, you may not involve the parent in the first few rounds of drafting the cyber policy, but the parents need to be involved in this drafting of the cyber policy at the later point of time. We must definitely have them roped in. Okay, then also, which policies are acceptable to you as a school? when they are using new technologies, when they are accessing the Wi-Fi of the school, when they are accessing the internet of the school, or maybe the printer, maybe the network they are using. So we must be able to tell our children very clearly that this is acceptable, this is not acceptable. If it is not acceptable, what are the consequences that can come in? Okay, the most important thing, as everybody know, is to raise awareness among students, not just students, among teachers and among every stakeholder. Even it is a ayah in the school, if it's a bus driver in the school, that person should be made aware of the consequences of the concept of cyber safety and cyber security. Okay, I wanted to show you a content here about this, is just an example of how we can form, in case if there is an unwanted contact or unsafe contact. And this is when we are forming a cyber policy for our school. Okay, what can be done? You can have a screenshot evidence, you can report in block, you can report to the concerned organization, report to police, and how you can protect yourself. This is just an example that I wanted to show you. Like this, for everything, the child code of conduct, your organization self-assessment, everything should have a template which you can be using. You can make your accounts private and then obviously reach out for help. Not every time we would be disappointed, and not everywhere. I'm sure there are definitely people up there who are willing to help us out. These are some of the other websites that we can refer for. This one is for Center for Social Research, which will help us while drafting the policy. Another one is from the Information and Security Awareness. And this one is about staying safe online in school. So these are some of the websites that would definitely help us while we are sitting down and drafting our cyber policies for the school. I would be sharing those links in the group that we are in. Now, the first thing that after the webinar, or whenever you have the first opportunity to do so, is to start making a committee of forming or drafting a cyber policy. And the first step towards that would be to plan, consult, and prepare. As the first stakeholders would definitely be the school leadership team. They need to plan, they need to consult the local agencies, the local cyber police. If there are people whom you know personally who can help you out, then even if could be one of your parents who can help you out in drafting the cyber policy, the first step would be to plan, consult, and then prepare. Once you've prepared a draft, you can have number of rounds of deliberations to finalize and approving it. Once you finalize and approve that, you can communicate and implement that with your stakeholders, and then continuous monitoring and review of that cyber policy, because sometimes the policies go extinct. They are no longer relevant to your organization. So you need to consistently review it. Occasionally, the club or the council, whoever is responsible for that, need to monitor and review that. I think if we plan to have another session on drafting the cyber policy for school, we will go into the details regarding the same. Okay, I think I do not have pretty much, but yes, if there are something, I'm not a cyber expert. All that I shared with you is from my personal experience. There would be definitely a lot of people out there in this group who are listening to me who know much more than me. Please do pull in your inputs. My only intention of having this webinar with you today on the Cyber Security Awareness Month was, let's take this a little more seriously. Let's give it a little more importance, and let's make policies for our children, for our schools. As they say, you cannot teach people everything they need to know. The best you can do is to position them where they can find what they need to know and when they need to know it. I just tried to do this for you today. And this webinar, unlike the other webinars that we attend, Please do not consider it just a webinar to listen and forget about it. Please take an action. As it says, words may inspire, only action creates the change. It's the famous motivational speaker and leadership coach, Simon Sinek, says that. So I think I'm done with my session today. If there are any questions, these are some of the sites that I referred while I created the presentations for you. So if there are any questions, I think Pooja ma'am, you can unmute. And if there are any feedbacks.
Yeah, they can unmute themselves. Anybody if wants to ask anything can unmute and ask, please.
You know, as I told you, I am not a cyber expert. So when somebody put that message in the group that yes, you will definitely get an e-certificate for this, I think the links would be posted in the group that we created for this particular webinar. Just give me a minute if I have an access to the person who asked me this question. Are you in that group? Kanak ma'am, there is a certificate. Definitely there is an e-certificate, and I would request, I know it's a very dry topic. I know it's not at all interesting to listen to this, but then this is something very, very important and very close to my heart. And that's the reason I wanted to take this for all of us out here. So I would really appreciate if you would, give me a feedback on the session on what all was right, what was not right, what could be improved. Harmeet ma'am, I see a raised hand. Harmeet ma'am.
Hi, Shibi. Good
Hi,
evening.
good evening.
You know, it's always very amazing, whenever I hear you, whenever I don't hear you very often, but whenever I do hear you, I must say that I am always awed by your, passion to talk about stuff, and you relay those kind of, you are all rolled into one. You're a facilitator. You are also a teacher. You're also a friend. So I would say that, is there any other topic left under the sky in tech that you haven't spoken about?
My God, there is a lot more. I am humbled.
I know
and
it's just the
honored.
tip of the iceberg. It's just the tip of the iceberg. But coming back from school and then driving and then coming back and having this conversation, just listening to it actually like a podcast, I would say it's amazing to see that you still have that kind of conversation flowing every single time that you sit in front of the camera and you say those words. So I would really like to appreciate your efforts over here, the research that you do, the good work that you do. And Matthew sir gives us all a platform in one way or the other, that whatever is our expertise.
Yes.
So he's like the film director, we are like the actors.
Yes, very true.
Yes, of course. And I would definitely, applaud the resources that you have said, that yes, like you said, some things work for someone, some things don't work for someone.
Right.
And these are all government sites. And when we walk out on the road, we don't know what kind of a car is going to drive by. Right. So when we look on the left, we look on the right, that's the first thing that we teach our child.
Absolutely.
Right? How to be careful. First thing, we sit inside the classroom, you talk about moral sciences, we tell them how to be safe. So why do we forget all that when we go online?
Exactly. That is my concern, Harmeet ma'am.
Exactly.
As educators, as leaders, I think we need to give a little more stress and little more importance on this aspect of, education.
Exactly.
We need to make more people aware of this, and we need to be consistent about it.
Consistently about it. Yes. And this is where one suggestion comes in.
Yeah.
So one particular aspect of your session that you started with was when you were talking about the cyber diet, the cyber hygiene,
yes,
and all those conversations. Yes, as a part of the webinar, we do need to talk about it. We do need to have that continuous conversation, talking about it inside the classroom. But then there are so many other things that we could have added out more over here, like the importance of, like you did talk about cyber cell, you did talk about computer clubs. So a continuous conversation. So whether we have an actual cyber policy in the school or not doesn't make any difference at this point of time, when people are struggling with devices, people are struggling with online over achieving expectations coming from every corner, all the stakeholders. At this point, if it's a continuous if it's a continuous learning that's happening at this point of time, I feel that, like a concept of digital citizenship that we as tech teachers can actually incorporate in our ICT classroom. Like, we talk about it out of 4 cycles in the month. We talk about at least once a week, 10
Right.
minutes, 5 minutes. Like on a continuous basis. Children that don't know about IT Act. Imagine Indian students that don't know about the Indian IT Act,
Right.
right? So we need to reiterate those resources that you have said, like
Right.
Be Vigil, or you talk about the other ones that you have spoken about, the government sites that you have spoken about, right?
Right.
So just go ahead and keep doing the good work, girl. Go all power to you. All girl
Thank
power
you
to you.
so much. As I said before, coming from you, it is just so much humbling. I am honored, but I would like to correct you. I am a learner. There is so much more for me to learn. I share what I know with everybody out there, and I want all my teachers to understand that there is something that each one of us can do. Like what you said is very right. Right, the first step is to be aware of it. So I have something called as a computer science education week happening in my school every year for a week, and the senior school students organize that computer science education week, roping in the teachers. They do it for teachers also, and that 1 week is full of activities, full of different initiatives from the children to make sure they touch the concept of cyber security in every corner. So that is what I do in my school. Yes, that would be a wonderful idea. I think ICT teachers have a added on responsibility, but I would like to put the responsibility on the other teachers' shoulders also. And I believe that all of us can make a difference by making sure. Why I insist on having a proper policy for the school is that I understand that it's not like in the present situation in the pandemic, where there are so many children who are not having proper devices to attend the classes. But ma'am, this is also a fact that now we are all going back to schools. Now we may have devices in our classrooms. How are we planning to deal with it? As educators, as leaders, we need to be prepared for it. We need to tell our children, we need to tell our parents, we need to tell our teachers that, okay, these are acceptable norms as far as the school is concerned. These are not acceptable. Okay, we need to inform. We can no longer say that, okay, you cannot bring your device to school. That's not allowed. Okay, that's not possible.
That's so right, so well said. But just like we do regular fire safety drills in our school, we need to keep on holding the boot camps in the school where we keep on
Yes.
upgrading the students, the
Yes.
parents, all the stakeholders that this
Yes.
is happening. And if these kind of things happen, then these are the level of repercussions that might. So if you have a consequence, then I think the situation can be lessened.
Right.
It will not happen overnight. It will be gradual,
Right.
but it has to start somewhere. Definitely, it has to start somewhere.
Yes.
And of course, charity begins at home.
That's true. And I agree to that. So all the people who are listening to me, please do fill up the feedback form. And I've also shared the certificate link. You'll get the certificate with a payment of 21 rupees. It's by the AIEF. Okay. And there's another thing that I wanted to there was a message in the group. I missed the class. Please explain in few words. I am so sorry. I would definitely post the recording of the session for you to go through whenever you are free to go through the session. Savita ma'am, is that okay? Yeah, and thank you so much, everybody, for being here and spending this 1 hour with me. And I would like to specially thank Pooja ma'am for being here and helping me out with all the technical aspect of, muting, unmuting, entering the participant. And this is what I call collaboration. When we are having a session, if we have a friend of ours who can help us out, we can focus on the session rather than, people would definitely walk in at different points of time. And sometimes, yesterday when I was attending Harpreet ma'am's, session, I was seeing how effortlessly she was letting people in. Even it was like 5 minutes for the session to end. And I was wondering, oh my God, how effortlessly she is doing that. I won't be able to do that. So this session was very dry, but this was very important. And that's why I wanted to have my focus here. So thank you so much, Pooja ma'am, for again helping me out with this. And thank you everyone for being here and for attending this session. If there are people who are interested in going ahead with knowing how to draft a school cyber policy, we can have another session for that. And yes, I would be sharing the recording of the session. And before I go offline, I would like to thank Matthew sir for giving all of us a chance to come together as a group of wonderful people to make some difference in the world out there. So have a wonderful weekend, everyone. Stay safe. And when you go back to your schools on Monday morning, may you be blessed and charged and energized to take everything that is being thrown at you. So have a great evening and bye from me. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. I would like to know this Riju S, whether it's a sir or a ma'am. I'm so sorry I'm not able to address you because I have a doubt whether it's a sir or a ma'am.
Riju is a ma'am. Riju is a ma'am. Riju Srivastava.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. Thank you, Riju ma'am. Thank you. It means a lot. I really appreciate your time and effort. Please do fill in the feedback form. We have always seen that maybe 100 participants attend and only 10 of them fill up the feedback form. A person, when they prepare a webinar, they put a lot of effort for that webinar, and your 1 minute would help them to understand what was right, what was wrong, and how they can improve in their session. So please do fill in the feedback. I will be sharing the feedback link and the certificate link in the group as well. So thank you and bye till we meet next.